Okay, you need to be on a school board. Okay. Do you want me to assign you? What? Here, here, or here? Just turn around, grab her. Isabel is by herself. She needs to be on a school board. Okay, invite her in. You're in her school board. Okay. So you're a 4-person school board. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes, otherwise they wouldn't have, rights over it or anything like that. So be writing down, are you writing down the decisions? Okay. Yes, the empty plot is on school property. It is school owned. Okay, are you writing down the decisions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Okay, write them down. Okay. Okay, and when you've got them all written down, how far are you guys getting? Third one? Okay.
I would say yes for number 3. It's actually right. Okay. If it's during a weekday, and if it's on Friday.
Which number are you guys on? Oh my gosh, you just zipped through them. Take your time. Whoa. Whoa. Well, what if it's the students' constitutional rights? Whoa. Whoa. That one's easy. That one's easy. How far are you guys along? Oh my gosh, okay. These guys are already at number 9. Good grief, they're crazy. It's okay. No, of course you are. This is good. Which number are you guys on? 2, 3, okay. Good. Act like adults, don't act like a school board. You act like a good school board. Which one you got? Number 2? Okay. So you ready to go on to the next one? You want the back one? You sure? Does it matter?
Yeah. I'm trying to argue the fact that there's no way to have enough eggs to just taint the entire. She's saying that
I would say it's, maybe 10, 20, 30 at most. Settle. You can put yes, but, no, unless. Did you get the first 3 done already? You did, okay. You guys you were able to get the first ones? Good, okay. See, how far are you guys? What's the number? 6? 5? Okay. And they're still on the last one. Okay, which one are you guys on now? You're finished. Not much disagreement. Okay, all right. Okay. You feel confident in your legal analysis. Okay, yes, okay. Okay, you're part of the school board. You're at number 6. It's okay. Just make sure that she's okay with what's going on there. Okay. Can you read my thing? It's so small. It's good. Doing the last one. No, second to last one. Okay. Should I put the last one up? What? you want to still look at this one? Okay, that's fine. So you guys are done? Nearly. Are you doubling back on some of them? Okay. You don't have a choice of constitutional rights. You can't say, oh, you can have the right to liberty or the right to life. You know, just take your pick. You can't have everything. They have their rights, period. The tree is before school. Yeah, that's before school. Yeah, the meeting's at lunch. Yeah, they obviously want to do both. They want yes. They want yes on everything. Yeah. Okay, the next one? Okay. So you guys are on the last ones. And you guys are on the last one? Okay. Okay, good. Okay. And you guys finished up? Almost. Yes, yes, okay. Okay. And you guys finished up? Okay. All right. We'll give you guys another minute or so to wrap up if you haven't already. Okay. You guys want to be on a school board? Sure. But isn't the Earth right here? It's artificial? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Weird. Okay, wrap up your discussions. Oi. Okay. All right, here we go. You'll want to make note of this and so forth in case there's any wrinkles, and there will be a few wrinkles. I'm going to be pointing out some things in addition on some of these things as we go through here. Oh, you'll find out. Wrinkly wrinkles, okay? Not smooth wrinkles, wrinkly wrinkles. Yes, indeed. Okay, so I'm going to start with this school board right here and find out how you handled. You can point any one of you to give me what the decision was with respect to your first request, the hiring people to form a Stonehenge in the empty plot. It is on school property, but what did you guys say on that one?
We said no,
Why not?
because it's on school property and we cannot endorse a certain religion by letting them build their religious statues on our property.
Okay.
If they want to buy us somewhere else near the school and make it there, they can, but they cannot do that on school property.
Okay, so school property, government thing. Raise your hand if any of your groups came up with a different decision than that. Okay, that one was fairly easy. Okay, any other comments on that one? What's that? Yeah, so there's multiple things there as far as advancing a particular religion. Use of school property grounds for a permanent religious thing, and using school money for a specifically religious purpose. Yes?
Well, we said yes, but they have to pay for the Stonehenge themselves, and they're liable to injury on the stone.
Okay, so did you guys understand that was school property?
Yes.
Okay. Does that, and that passes the lemon test in your view?
Yes.
Okay, so you're taking a pretty broad, expansive thing for their lemon test, yes?
And if they're given the property to do that, even with liability and everything, what's the same when
Yeah, or what happens if the new Westboro Baptist Club shows up and they want to put up signs with, you're like, what? Oh, it's hate speech. Okay, there we go. So you're going to distinguish there. Okay. Probably on this one, I think it's probably a fair analysis. I'm going to go along with the vast majority on that one. And in fact, Idaho, you can put this down as well. Idaho has some specific Idaho constitutional language that says do not spend money for sectarian, as in religious educational purposes. Okay, so in addition to the lemon test there, Idaho has an additional bar, but it kind of goes along similarly with that. Okay, that one was fairly straightforward. I'm going to throw a wrinkle into it just to see how this works out. But go ahead, Connor, first. Okay, go, bye. Off you go. All right, now, here we go. So, the Pagan Club hears the no coming resoundingly from all but one of the school boards here. We'll see how if this continues this trend and so forth. So they say, okay, never mind. Don't spend your money. Okay, it's not going to be permanent. Can we just bring in temporary blow-up stones when the field is not being used and use them for our purposes, and then when our little thing is done, then we just take them down and move on? Raise your hand if you're like, that's okay. It's no school money being spent, okay, so it's not getting in the way of religious functions and so forth. That might be about the only compromise you're going to get on that, okay? Blow up Stonehenge for temporary purposes, okay? Although if they ultimately, let's have a quiet please, shh. If the school ultimately decides to use that as like a baseball field or a soccer field or a track field or something like that, you know, that might get in the way of the students wanting to do that. But who knows? All right, let's go to that group back there. That's school board number 2, the Pagan Prayer Circle, a half an hour around the fir tree. What do you guys say? Oh, interesting. Okay. So you're worried about other people's attitudes about that prayer circle going on school property before the school. So you ultimately say yes. Okay, so we got a yes. Raise your hand if your group said yes. Generally yes. Raise your hand if your group said no. Let me hear you guys.
We realized that there's literally a pagan church right across the street. We were just like, go over there. Because school property, you don't really need to do.
So if you're at school and you want to do your religious thing, you need to pack it up across the street. But what if they're like, but our free exercise of religion here on public property, and you're making us go across the street? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what you're doing. Are you going to make them pack it up and go across the street? Okay, shh. Okay, hold on, let's hear. Shh. Shh, let's have it quiet.
We were concerned about them being able to attend that class sometime, so we said, why don't you start 15 minutes earlier than you originally planned?
Now,
You can make it to class, and if anybody does have a problem, then they can just not during school.
yeah, so does this, maybe with some slight alterations like you talk about, does this interfere with the school day? As long as they get to school and classes on time, no problem, right? Okay, and I would say, sorry, school board, you can't tell them there are more convenient places for you to practice and exercise your religion than here in the public school. Go over to your pagan temple, because they might not have that. No, I know it is, but what if it wasn't there?
What if there's no fir tree?
But there, it literally says in question 3 until someone...
No, I know, but that's an interesting thing, because what if that wasn't there? Would you tell them that, no, you can't do it on the... Yeah. Oh, now here we go. Let's get to this. Okay, here we go. You ready? Here's the scenario that I came up with. It's kind of like the heckler's veto in free speech. Wow, we don't like the content of your speech, so we're going to shout and cause all kinds of damage, and then we'll tell the police that we're going to hurt you, and so therefore, in order for you to be safe, you can't speak. So in other words, if this is unpopular, shh, then they could be canceled, they could be the heckler's veto, and so forth. This is, you need to be very interested and very cautious about this. Shh, put this down. If you have a right to practice your religion, free speech, and so forth, you can't just let the crowd cancel them. Now, how about this scenario, okay? Because this is the one I thought up in my mind. Let's just say, for example, and you guys seem to be sort of intimating at this, there's some neighbors and they're like, oh my gosh, those crazy pagan teenagers, they're around, oh, I hate it when they do that. So what somebody does in the neighborhood, they come on the property and they poison the tree and they kill the tree. And you're like, oh, would anyone ever do that? Go to Alabama. Auburn, Alabama, they've got a huge rivalry. And I want to say it's like Auburn, I think they had this like big, huge, old traditional tree, you know what I'm talking about? And somebody from the other campus came over and killed the tree. Oh, that was bad. So here's the deal. I'm going to put it back to Ben. Okay, this school district, no, this school board right here. What do you say? If the tree is dead, can the school cut down the tree and not have that be a violation of the students' religious rights? What would be the purpose of cutting down the tree? Yes, it's on the school property.
I was assuming it was just like some public road tree.
Oh, no. It's on school property. It's a fir tree. They gather around the tree and they sing Ave Dora. Just kidding. No, it's like the Grinch. What do you think? Anyone, go ahead. What do you think, Jake? What would be the secular purpose for cutting down a tree that's dead? It's dead. Yeah. I mean, it could be dangerous and fall over on somebody. Okay, now here's the wrinkle. Shh, this one is problematic. Shh. If the student said, that was really terrible, they poisoned the tree, and you're going to cut it down because it's dangerous. Shh. And then they come to the school district and they say, we saved a little sapling of it. We call it Groot Jr., right? And we want you to plant that little sapling in the spot where the original tree was. Can the students plant trees on the school property? I don't think so. Can the school plant a tree to take care of the needs of students' religious beliefs? Not for that purpose. Can the school say, well, we're just going to plant a tree? That would be about it. But if they intimated that it was because of advancing a particular student, there you go. It was a non-sectarian. It would have to be a secular purpose. Remember, secular means non-religious. If it was non-secular, if it was religious, then that would be no. No. Keep track of that. All right, next one. You ready? This school board. Number 3, leaving campus. What about it? Piper and Daphne. You said no. Why not? Okay. All right, let me check in with, raise your hand if your school board agreed with that school board. No. So we got a negatory over here. Is that for your school board? Negatory? All right, hold on. Raise your hand if yours is a school board that said yes, and if you can come up with reasons why you said yes. Go ahead. What do you mean it already happens? Okay. This actually does take place, right?
Eagle and Rocky and all those big public schools all have release time for members of the city to apply for validation to go to seminary. And as long as it's off school property, then it's okay.
Here's the deal. I want you to write this down. This was actually in the chapter. Some of you got this right on the quiz from that chapter. I think it was chapter 13. Put this in your notes. Congress passed a law for religious release time. There was concern among some parents of kids of faith, whether it's like, for example, here, Church of Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints, or some other parts of the country, Catholic, other ones and so forth. They were concerned that the kids weren't going to have an opportunity during the school day to have religious instruction. Now, they knew they weren't going to be able to get it at the school, public school, but they wanted to make sure that they had the right to go off. Here are the provisos, and I think you guys outlined them very well. 1, it's got to be off school property. Got that? 2, it has to, the students have to still be like maintaining their regular class schedule. This is what happens in the state of Idaho. Is there a large community of people following that particular faith? Hello, yes. And as a matter of practice, when a new school goes up, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints typically will buy some property nearby. And they will build a structure, usually out of brick. And it will, I remember when I was at Capitol, it was literally like right across the street as I looked out over Goddard Street, and students would go. And it was very convenient for those students because they would go during the school day. If you're attending North Star, I think students go to the one at Eagle. There you go. Early, hence stressing early morning seminary. Okay? So, yeah, they have to work that out because that's problematic. Okay, now, here we go. You guys got that? So that's the one, that was the wrinkle, that was the one that I put in there that maybe some knew. And no surprise, if you knew it, perhaps it was because you're familiar with it and maybe you're taking advantage of it right now. Yes?
What's the stopping from just saying, like, yo, my religion is being very calm?
Are you ready? Here we go. You ready? Let's see how well this goes. Because in the seminary classes, just as a matter of like gathering information, brick building, air conditioning for the summer, heating in the winter, right? Doors, adult instructors. Okay, correct? All right. Now, we'll go to this one really quickly. We don't even need to spend too much time on that one. Are they going to get academic credit at a public school for that? No. Okay, so number 4, that's clearly a no. No group said yes, right? Good. So number 4 is a big old negatory. Okay? So let's just say that there's further questions for these little group of pagan students. And so they're asking like, well, could you tell me about the building? And they're like, well, our temple really isn't a temple yet. We don't really have the money for it and so forth. So is it okay? We're going to put it in a tent. Does anyone have any problem if the students have their instruction in a tent as opposed to a brick structure? Really? You're going to deny the students their right to have their like religious instruction?
But if they complain that they get hurt or something happens to them because they're not, let's say, like if homeless man comes across their beer bottle out there.
It is interesting. I mean, how responsible, good question, how responsible is the public school for what takes place at the private religious instruction? Not at all. All right, so Caden, you can be like, I care about you very much, but watch out. Your tent might not be really good when the storm comes in. Okay? How about this? They're like, okay, the tent is not real conducive in the wintertime, and so what we did is we actually pulled a van up in that spot, and we're having religious instruction in a van. What do you mean no? Say no to the students because they have their religious instruction in something with 4 rubber tires? Wow. How can you say that? Oh, we haven't even gotten to that part yet. But are you making a big deal out of the structure? Can you say no to a student if the structure that they're getting the religious instruction in is a tent or a van? How about that? And in fact, the students are like, all these people keep peering in. We want to close the windows. We want to like draw the blinds in the van, on the street. What if they drive away? How responsible are you for the people who are receiving their religious instruction? And here's an interesting question. And this actually gets variable as far as like some schools because they allow students to get class. How many of you guys attend classes not on this campus? How far away is it? Are we going to say you can't attend classes if it's like, you know, more than like 100 meters? You know, if they've got a bus or a car or something going, those create some interesting wrinkles. Oh, like, let's get to the next one. So the question comes up, who's doing the instruction? Oh, we got an adult. An adult. They graduated, sort of. Maybe, I don't know if they graduated. Anyway, they're 18 years old, and they're the adult. No, not anymore. They're 18 years old. Are you going to say no to an 18-year-old conducting religious classes in a van by the river? Just kidding. River. Yes. Yes, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was just thinking, like, because you can still be in high school when you're 18.
Yeah. What's the problem with that? They got an adult. They're in high school. They're in charge. Oh, so you're going to take away their religious rights just because they're not trustworthy. How many of you guys are like, this is starting to be like a little bit concerning here? It looks like they're creating some kind of a loophole-y thing so that they can just like have some time and so forth and fit it under the religious exemption. Yes?
I say,
Okay, shh.
as long as attendance is taken when they arrive and when they leave, it should definitely be like clocking.
Yeah. It is interesting because this does create, it's set up to protect the rights of students, but you can see when you start changing some of the variables and the facts and so forth from a traditional brick building with, somebody in their mid-40s, dressed up nice and so forth, it gets a little bit, raises some questions. Okay? Isn't that fun? Let's go to number 5. Let's hear from you guys on number 5. The teacher is told to shut up so they can do their prayers.
All right. Number 5, we said no.
So no, why not?
That's weird. It's annoying.
How many of you guys, raise your hands, this one's actually pretty easy. Raise your hands if your group said, yes, teachers are going to have to back off so the students can do their prayers. Oh, let me hear. Owen, what did you say? We said. Ben's like.
He said, it's okay as long as it's not disruptive.
Okay.
Yes, and loud chants are disruptive, so that's not okay.
Okay. So what if they're like, okay, I'm having a religious time here. Let's say Caden's over here. Shh. And he's like, he puts a little sign up that says, Mr. Hanson, don't bother me. I'm praying. Can you go into, my religion involves going into a nocturnal state that connects me with the spiritual universe? Okay. So can you, on the other end, I agree. Loud, shh, I agree with the school board. The loud thing, that's ridiculous. But what about falling asleep? Is that going to be okay? No. What about quiet? What if I'm handing out tests and so forth and somebody's just like, I'm like, cut that out. Is that okay? No. No, I'm like, I'm trying to. Don't you do that. Don't you do that prayer. Of course you can do that prayer. That's easy. Very good. Nice job. Let's go to number 6. This one's a little bit more complicated. We'll go with this school board right here. What'd you guys say for number 6? They get a recognition and a room to have the weekly lunch meeting.
Okay, we put no. They would be recognized by the school, but they would not be provided a room.
Okay. How many of you guys also said no? How many of you guys said yes? Now, here, let's change it up a little bit. What if other clubs are getting a room? Then you need to get the room? Yeah. And this is the weird thing on this one. Make a little note of this one. Clubs are not all equal. And I can tell you this as a matter of practice. As an advisor for who knows what number of clubs, political science club at Capitol, and we did international club here for a number of years. And sometimes, so in those clubs, I had a role as the advisor. And typically, I would put it on the students to take the leadership role because I wanted them to take the leadership role. Okay? Sometimes I would have students come up to me and go, can we use your room at lunch for a religious-based club? And I'd be like, well, as long as you don't mess up the room or anything like that and so forth, fine. Now, who would be responsible for running that club? They would, entirely. Okay? So that is a little bit of a distinction because that's entirely up to them, whereas some of the other clubs like DECA and so forth, there would be a clear connection with the school, and I'm part of the school, so therefore I'm part of the government, so no. Okay? There was I remember one state, there was one school district, and they were upset because this was about 15 years ago. There was a club that formed up, and it wanted to advocate particular political views. They were looking for recognition of, for example, same-sex marriage and things like that and so forth. Now, the community, some of the parents and so forth, are like, oh my gosh, we can't have that club at school. Quickly ran into the problem. Can you say no to that particular type of club just because the majority of the parents in the community don't like that message? No. So they couldn't say no to the club. So what happened? They canceled all clubs that year. So is canceling all clubs, does that take care of it? Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, it was like, you know, in order to not have a disagreement, we're not going to let anybody have that point of view. All right? Along those lines, let's hear from this group back here. What about number 7? What about posting their signs in the hallway?
We said yeah.
Any particulars?
Well, we were basically just like, you know, because, okay, it says announcing their meeting. So if they stick strictly to announcing their meeting, we thought it was alright, as long as it's not like advertisement, because that doesn't go for them.
Well, when is an announcement not an advertisement? Let me hear some other thoughts. Open it up to the group on this one.
This isn't really trying to argue any point of view, but if you go out in the hallways, there are advertisements everywhere. Like, for example, the travel stuff, that's literally advertising of a company.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, commercial company.
Well, I got a good example. What about like church bells?
Well, they can do that on private property.
Right, but you could use it for like time.
I suppose you could, yeah.
Like not like being used.
Okay. Okay.
Well, you can argue that it's
They
not.
can put up posters or whatever, as long as they are school appropriate.
So is it okay if they put up time, place? Okay. How about this one? So that somebody who's like, can put up the name of the club, Pagan Club. Okay. How about this? Pagan Club. For all you people that don't know pagan, what pagan is, that means if you don't follow our particular belief system, you're all going to a dark, nasty, horrible place. Where? Can you put that up there? Oh, okay. So, sorry. Who's forming that? I don't want them to be in my room. Can you put any particulars in the announcement? Or are you saying save that for the meeting? Maybe save that for the meeting? Okay. All right, now let's get to the really controversial stuff. Number 8. Let's start back here. What did your school board say as far as the small stones and then the barefoot feet? How do you keep it sanitary? Give me a little bit more leeway. Okay, no, not number 9 yet. We're doing number 8. Number 8. The barefoot and the... let's start with the stones around the neck. Any problem with that? Did anybody have any problem with the stones around the neck? It's jewelry, okay? What if they're big stones and they're like going... Phoo? That's a liability thing, okay? All right, let's get to the barefoot part, all right? What'd you guys say? Shh, on the barefoot. It's got some interesting responses on this one. What'd you get? We'll start with you guys. What'd you say? Can they go around barefoot? What do you mean no? Someone else could step on their feet? Shh, hold on. Let these guys go first. Okay. How many of you guys were like concerned about the sanitary aspect and kind of leaned toward, or if not, in fact, said no on that one? You guys had an interesting response that you were talking about when I walked by. Go ahead.
well, what we said is since they're celebrating Earth Day and they said that they need to keep their feet exposed to touch the ground to be in connection with Earth.
Well,
This ground is not naturally occurring.
Ooh.
It's not affecting the part of the Earth.
Ooh.
You have to keep your shoes on non-natural.
So in your decision, you're going into the basis of belief of their particular view, and you're like, you're not even following your view. Okay, wow. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, last school board right here. Number 9, the chicken eggs. What'd you guys decide? As long as they clean up. How many eggs? How many eggs, Victoria? How many eggs could they possibly come up with here? It depends on how many people and how many eggs per person and so forth. How many guys were concerned about the mess as a particular thing of there? So how'd you deal with that? They have the responsibility of cleaning it up. I've had some years where they're like, oh my gosh, somebody's going to be out there, an athlete, and they're going to trip and they're going to fall and their eyes going to be like bled open with like little shards of broken chicken's eggs. You've seen it happen with chicken eggs, like shards and so forth? Not chicken eggs, okay. So, how many of you guys said yes? How many of you guys said no?
So they had to boil the eggs and then bring them.
Oh. The whole boiled thing. Okay. Nice job on that. Next time, we are going to do equal protection. 14th Amendment discrimination. Marriage. Segregation. All kinds of stuff. Okay, so wipe down your things and then you guys are free to go. Good job.